have been imposed under different premises. Some things are consistent. They are all unjustified, unwarranted, and in our judgment, misguided. That's 3,600 workers who are now out of work, not by their choice. Workers who now worry how they're going to put food on the table and pay their bills. Just last evening, workers from Unifor Local 444, with whom I met last week, learned that their auto assembly plant in Windsor will be shutting down for at least the next 2 weeks.
Did you know Canadian tourism to the US has dropped by a shocking 85% in some areas? That's not just a few maple syrup lovers staying home. That's billions of dollars vanishing from the American economy overnight. While Trump was busy tweeting about Governor Trudeau of the great state of Canada, actual Canadians were launching the biggest economic boycott in North American history. No more Disney trips, no more shopping sprees in New York, just millions of polite but seriously ticked off people saying no thanks to all things American, and European countries are taking notes. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Did you know Trump once called Justin Trudeau the governor of the great state of Canada?
At the same time, President Trump confirmed that the tariffs announced last week against our auto industry will come in, and indeed have come into effect today. Three different sets of U.S. tariffs remain in place and will continue to pose significant threats to Canadian workers and Canadian businesses. So while it's progress that further tariffs were not imposed on Canada yesterday, the President's actions will reverberate here in Canada and across the world.
Yeah, that actually happened. Trump's been treating our northern neighbors like they're just another American state for years now. This dismissive attitude isn't just in private either. He's repeatedly used this belittling language in speeches, social media posts, and interviews. It's all part of his strategy to make Canada seem less important on the world stage. But here's where Trump's big mouth got him into trouble. Canada isn't just taking these insults lying down anymore. They've launched what you might call a financial rebellion against America. And honestly, nobody saw it coming. The Buy Canadian movement has exploded across the country, with regular folks deliberately choosing Canadian products over American ones. Those online directories that list Canadian-made products, their traffic has increased tenfold as Canadians search for ways to keep their money at home.
You see the numbers are so disproportionate, they're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart? And that'll be on other countries to help
Millions of Canadians. We're going to fight these tariffs with countermeasures.
subsidize a lot of countries and keep them going and keep them in business. In the case of Mexico, it's $300 billion a year. In the case of Canada, it's close to $200 billion a year.
We are going to protect our workers, and we are going to build the strongest economy in the G7.
The economic impact is already hitting American businesses where it hurts, right in the wallet. Canadian tourism to the United States has plummeted, with drops ranging from 40% to a whopping 85% in some regions. Think about all those border towns and tourist spots that depend on Canadian visitors. They're suddenly watching billions of dollars that used to cross the border stay put up north instead. Making this resistance even more interesting is Mark Carney, the current Liberal Party leader. Carney isn't your typical politician. He's the former head of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. During his time at these central banks, he managed the 2008 financial crisis and helped the UK navigate the Brexit mess. This guy knows more about economic warfare than Trump knows about, well, anything. Carney's experience gives him unique insight into America's economic weak spots. He understands exactly where the US is vulnerable. Its reliance stance on international trade, its financial stability issues, and how to apply pressure where it hurts most. While Trump was busy making juvenile jokes about Canada, Carney was studying how global financial systems actually work. The tension between the two countries reached another level when Doug Ford, Ontario's premier, threatened to slap export taxes on electricity flowing to the United States. This came as a direct response to Trump's tariff threats, showing that even conservative Canadian politicians aren't afraid to stand up to American bullying anymore. Ford's electricity threat was just a warning shot. The real international financial bomb is being assembled right now in secret meetings across Europe. Remember Mark Carney, the financial wizard who's now leading Canada's resistance? Turns out he's been cozying up with European leaders, teaching them the fine art of economic warfare against America. This isn't just Canada throwing a temper tantrum anymore. It's becoming a global movement. European leaders who used to smile awkwardly through Trump's insults are now taking detailed notes from Canada's resistance playbook. What's even more shocking is that Carney, described by insiders as probably the top economist in the world, has reportedly been advising these leaders on the nuclear option, selling off US Treasury bonds. As someone who understands the Treasury markets better than Trump understands his own signature, Carney knows exactly where America's financial weak spots are. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer didn't mince words when he declared that the world has changed and that our old relationship with the United States is over. That's not just diplomatic shade, that's a full-on breakup text to America. And guess who was standing right beside him during these conversations? Yep, Mark Carney. Meanwhile, Canadian MP Charlie Angus has become an unlikely social media star with his fiery speeches defending Canadian democracy. In Cumberland, British Columbia, Angus directly called out Trump's propaganda machine, sparking a patriotic wildfire across the country. These aren't just boring political speeches, they're rallying cries that have Canadians suddenly feeling very protective of their maple syrup-soaked identity. The Liberals' new Canada Strong Pass might sound like just another boring government program, but it's actually economic warfare wrapped in a maple leaf. This strategic initiative gives free access to national galleries, museums, and the rail system for kids under 18 traveling with parents. It's designed to keep Canadian dollars in Canada instead of flowing to Disney World and other American tourist traps. What's truly wild is that Europe is now studying these Canadian boycott tactics and considering similar actions. Reports suggest the number of Europeans traveling to America is cratering, just like Canadian tourism did. When America's closest allies start coordinating economic punishment, you know something unprecedented is happening. Trump's tariff threats were supposed to make Canada bend the knee. Instead, they've sparked a patriotic revolution that's spreading globally. The economic tactics pioneered by our supposedly weak northern neighbors could become the blueprint for a coordinated international response that hits America where it hurts most, right in the wallet. So the joke's on Trump, folks. His dismissal of Canada has spiraled into a global democratic resistance movement that's causing serious economic heartburn for America. What began as simple tariffs has morphed into a rare moment of Canadian unity during a political crisis. This isn't just about hurt feelings anymore. The ripple effects are threatening a potential recession, stock market decline, and stagflation south of the border. Experts warn we might see a fundamental transformation of the border, trade relationships, and America's global standing. The greatest irony, Trump supporters knew exactly who they were voting for, and now they'll pay higher prices, lose jobs, and watch their retirement savings shrink. Talk about making America great again.